Hello, everybody. Welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. I have no idea what went on with the intro music there. I didn't hear it, and it seemed to finish very, very abruptly. So, apologies about that, everybody. But Villa 2, Maccabi Tel Aviv nil. Um, yeah, probably the best we could have hoped for, given a lot of things that went on tonight. But Villa get a 2-0 win at home in a game whereby they needed to get a win, propelling them very actually I didn't even look to see where this propels them up the league, but getting another 3 points brings them on to 9 points in and puts them in a pretty good position, given that we've got young boys, we've got Basel, we've got Fenerbahce to come. One win from those three qualifies us for the quarterfinals. 2 wins, 3 wins definitely qualifies us anyway. Where it qualifies us, who knows? But it keeps us in the hunt, I suppose, for the top two positions within the Europa League, which gives us our home legs second in the quarterfinals and the semi-final position. So just looking at it here, Midtjylland lead on 12, Freiburg on 10, Ferencváros, Robbie Keane's Ferencváros at 10 points as well in third, Celta Vigo on 9, Braga on 9, Aston Villa 9, Lyon 9, Pilsen 8, Betis 8, PAOK 7, Brann 7, Dynamo Zagreb 7, and then there's a rake of other teams on 7 there as well. So we're in sixth position currently after 4 games, 6 goals scored, 2 goals conceded, and sitting pretty in sixth place there, or joint fourth place, whatever way you want to look at it. Aston Villa get the job done tonight on a 2-0 scoreline, and as everybody will attest to, there is only one big headline from tonight, and it's the only headline that I will listen to, or I will accept from tonight, and that is that we scored a penalty. We finally scored a penalty. Third penalty of the year. It took us our third penalty of the year, and we finally scored it. Daniel Mallon stepped up, stuck it in the back of net. Really, really good penalty. Well done, that man. It really irks me that we don't have that we haven't had a penalty taker. Daniel Mallon took it today, put that one to bed. And for me, as positives go, that's as positive as a thing that could have happened tonight, to be honest with you. Apart from the win, that is, apart from the win. But no, in all seriousness, look, an uninspiring first 35, 40 minutes in that game today. I was flabbergasted, to be honest with you, at some of the pedestrian levels of playing the first half. I thought Victor Lindelof at right back was like he was playing an exhibition game. The level of slowness he brought to the game when he had the ball at his feet was incredible. And it didn't help Aston Villa's build-up play. It certainly did not. Defensively, Victor Lindelof is fine, but Victor Lindelof with the ball at his feet he's going backwards with the ball as opposed to going forwards from a speed point of view. But look, I won't dwell too much in the first half. We had a couple of shaky moments. Emi Martinez makes a brilliant save, albeit that the man kicks it to the wrong side of the goals in that instance in the first half, and we probably should have been 1-0 down then. But after that, we owned possession of the ball quite a lot in this game, specifically in the first half, and it was just a bit sloppy. It was a bit disjointed. We get that goal at the end. Morgan Rogers, actually, I suppose, give him his flowers, because Morgan Rogers, for about 7 minutes before the goal, should I say, really kicked into action, and he started playing really well. And he started getting in between the lines. He started carrying that ball. There was one instance where he just kept on running, got into the box. Ball kind of got caught under his feet, nearly got a shot away. He started to play really well in that instance, and he was the man who makes the goal for, or makes a lot of the running for the goal for Ian Maatsen. And Ian Maatsen's goal was incredibly well taken. I thought he was a bit out of sorts prior to scoring the goal, but after scoring the goal, especially in the second half, really came into his own. I thought he had a fine second half, very much so, cutting inside and being more central, playing in a more inverted role. I thought the team was an awful lot less nervy, obviously, after the first goal goes in. There was parallels, I think. There was parallels to Aston Villa's game versus Liverpool at the weekend, I think, in this one, whereby while we were able to get on the ball, we were a bit sloppy. We weren't great going forward. Yes, we did threaten just before we scored. Maccabi had a couple of chances early on in the half that really they should have put away and would have put us under the cosh. But we get just like Liverpool get the goal in the 45th plus 1 minute. We get the goal late in the first half this time. It settles us down. It puts the dampeners on Tel Aviv. Really kind of knocks the stuffing out of them. It allows us to go in at halftime, and it allows us to come out a better team in the second half, a team that's going to play more cohesively, a team that's more confident, whereby we weren't forcing spacing issues and so on like that. And it goes like that some days. We were expected to win this game. Tel Aviv have every right to come to a situation like this and play above their station. Villa weathered that storm and got their goal, just like Liverpool did at the weekend. And Liverpool ended up 2-0 winners. Aston Villa ended up 2-0 winners here as well. And I do draw a lot of parallels with it. When we get our penalty in the second half, what time do we get our penalty? 59th minute. Pretty similar as well to the weekend. We got our goal in the 46th minute. We got our penalty in the 59th minute. I think Gravenberch scored close enough within like a 7 or 8 minute period of that, from what I remember as well. And it just puts the game to bed at that stage. It allows Villa then to pass the ball around. It allows Villa to be a bit more, I suppose, nonchalant from the point of view of attacking a bit better. It allowed us to bring on Ollie Watkins, Boubacar Kamara immediately afterwards. It allowed us to bring on Buendia, Tielemans, John McGinn, give the more established members of the team run off the bench for the last 15 minutes. And when that happened, when we brought on those players, we looked a much, much, much better team. And I think that is definitely, a plus point on this as well, for sure. Yeah, it's one of those wins whereby, like, on a Thursday, you can only do so. On a Thursday like this, in a league situation whereby the Europa League is set up the way it is, you can only do so much on a Thursday that will actually affect the league at the end of the year. I suppose, do we want to play better than we did for the full 90 minutes? Absolutely. But it kind of means a jot, really, at the end of the day, once we get the win. I'm more concerned about wins and about style of play, I suppose, at the weekend. And the reason that I say that is, you go back to Unai Emery's tenure as in the Conference League, when he was manager in the Conference League. On Thursday nights, we were going out against Ajax. Weren't playing particularly well. Yes, I know Ajax is a bad example. We drew 0-0, I think, that day. But we went out against the team from Medjugorje, or close enough to Medjugorje. I can't remember what they were called, the Bosnian team. We didn't play great. John McGinn comes up the last minute goal. We go, during that phase, we were, I'm not going to say we were pedestrian, but we were. It was almost like we were conserving energy. And then in the league, we were seeing better performances. That's kind of the way I want to see this. So if we have a situation like we had today, where we made X amount of substitutions, or not substitutions, changes before the game. Just trying to tally up in my head. What was it? 8, 7, 8. So 8 changes. At the 7 changes at the start of the game. I'm expecting us then at the weekend to be hopping off the ground. I'm expecting us to be a lot better outfit. As I said before, the month of November is dominated by home games. It's dominated by home games. It's dominated by opportunity for Aston Villa to climb both leagues. We've got Bournemouth at home. We've got Leeds away. Then we've got 2 more home games then to round out the end of November. So there's 5 games in November. We've played one. We've lost it against Liverpool. We've played this one. We've won it against Tel Aviv. We've got Bournemouth at the weekend coming to Villa Park. I saw Villa versus Bournemouth in Villa Park 2 years ago. And the place was absolutely rocking. And I think Bertie got a goal that day, if not, maybe not 2. What was that? 3 years ago, maybe, actually it was now. I want Villa to go out at the weekend now and build upon this, and build upon the fact that we've got minutes in the legs for the likes of Maatsen, Lindelof. We've got minutes in the legs for Bogard. Got minutes in the legs for Sancho. Minutes in the legs for Guessand. I know a lot of people are polarized on him, and very much so minutes in the legs and goals, and a goal in the legs of Daniel Malen as well. We're very interested to see the team that he puts out tonight. And in a weird way, I liked, obviously, Matty Cash will come in at right back. And Dino will probably come in at left back, I would say, at the weekend. But I like the way the team finished. I like the setup of the team, the way it finished. you had you'll have Torres back in there at left sided centre half, but Onana and Kamara with Daniel Mallon on the right hand side, Morgan or Yuri Tielemans through the middle with John McGinn and sorry, I'm completely blanking here. And Watkins up top as well. There was a fluidity there with McGinn and Tielemans moving back into position. Sorry, not McGinn and Tielemans. Gassan stayed on for the whole game. Sorry, Tielemans was back with Kamara, but there was a fluidity there with McGinn. The way he was able to go out wide and he was able to pull back into midfield to make it a midfield three. And at times we looked like we played a 4-3-3. Now I obviously don't expect that to be the formation against Bournemouth at the weekend. But it was interesting to see that. I think for the last 15 minutes, and I know because I trust what I saw there, and I'll watch it back to see for confirmation that we tried something different, specifically getting Tielemans on the field there. You'd see the passing was crisper, the movement was better from him. He's just a fine player. He really is just a really, really fine player, Yuri Tielemans. And it's somebody that I'm absolutely delighted is back, because we've missed him for however many weeks he's been out. And he has a creative ability in his play, and he's somebody that is, as I mentioned in the commentary, he's Brazilian captain or Belgian captain, or Brazilian captain would be something that would be a turn up for the books. But he's Belgian captain now as well. So he's obviously somebody that his nation looks up to. And I think as a Villa team, we really look up to him, and we look to him for important passages of play as well. So obviously, look, I don't need to tell anybody who's watching this about the virtue of Yuri Tielemans, and hopefully we will see it at the weekend as well. Maybe he's going to be fit to play from the start of the weekend. But if not, he's a great change of place player while he's getting back up to speed to be able to bring him on there with his sharp passing. Villa looked a lot more coherent when he came on in the second half. Obviously, it's easy enough to come on at 2-0 up, but we looked an awful lot more coherent, and we looked an awful lot safer with him in there as well, because there's one thing having Onana and Bogart, and I thought in the first half as well, I know I said I wouldn't harp back too much. In the first half, I thought Lindelof, Maatsen were out of sorts. I thought that Onana and Bogart couldn't really sort out who was going to be the sitter and who was going to be somebody who moved further forward. And we kind of stood back on our defense's toes, meaning that Gassand actually came back a bit further as well. And we just had horrible spacing at times in the first half, really horrible spacing. And I genuinely believe that Morgan Rogers just got pissed off with it at one stage, and that's why he decided to run like mad. They doubled up on Sancho on the right hand side as well, which was something that I think they doubled up on Sancho. I must look at it and see what the positioning report was for it. But it looked like, yes, they did. 77 and 6 completely doubled up on Sancho on that right hand side. They left on their right hand side, our left hand side. They kind of left our right hand side alone. There was big spaces. I'm just looking at it here, how they set up. There was big spaces, and then they tried to. They actually, do you know what? It's an interesting map. So what I will do here is I will just share it up and let me know you can see it in a moment. Might as well do this. Why not? So we can see it here. So this is how Villa set up here. Very much an interesting setup throughout. Now I know this is skewed, obviously, because we will see that. What you call him, Lindelof will look like he tucked inside an awful lot more. He played more or less he played 30 minutes as left-sided centre half. So his average positioning place here is wrong essentially. So I'm not gonna pay too much attention to that. But the way that the Tel Aviv setup essentially is here, they doubled up on Sancho on that side. We tried to keep Sancho high with Malin. They basically doubled up on him. You could see that in game, and they stopped him from running. That really neutered us in that instance there. They tried to get their like Liverpool do. They tried to keep somebody high up on that left-hand side. It didn't work for them. We overloaded that left-hand side. It did work in one or two instances, but we nullified it very much so as the game went on. And we can see here that Rogers actually started to drop off in this position here. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor. I don't think you can. Rogers dropped off in the position here between 28, 42 and 6. So he noticed that that Sancho was getting double teamed towards the end of the first half, maybe the last 10 minutes of the first half. And while Sancho, I thought, was playing okay, Rodgers dropped over there into this space. If they were going to double team and at times triple team Sancho, he was there so that you can see that corridor that he was. And this is exactly the position that he ran from between 77, 6, 42, 28, and 13. That little corridor that runs down there. That's the position that he ran for that that dribble that I mentioned, whereby he just kept on running like Roadrunner. And that's exactly actually the path that we took to get the ball, slide the ball into Maatsen, where Maatsen got his goal in the first half as well. So Villa adapted on their feet. Tel Aviv really started off with just trying to nullify Jadon Sancho and Morgan Rodgers. Villa adapted slightly, albeit we were very pedestrian in the first half, and we got our goal, and we never really looked back from that point of view. So I find those player position maps very, very interesting, but they're only as interesting as to see what you've seen in the game itself. Can you see, why what happened in the game happened, as opposed to looking at these and then going, oh yeah, well, this is what happened when it's not something that you saw on the field itself. So essentially the confirmation comes from those position maps. The confirmation comes from the statistics, but the number one thing is what you see in the field. And as I say, in the first half it wasn't great. Second half it was a small bit better, but we got a 2-0 win, I suppose, and Unai Emery will dust down his hands and say, you know what, fair play, we got our win, and we move on from here. We're going to come to, and we got no injuries as well. Going to come to some of your comments there as well. Richard says Villa back to winning again, but still work to do. Lethargic performance, says Weisglass, but 3 points and clean sheet on we moved. It's a very fair assessment as well. Damien says forgot how good it is to see Yuri on the pitch. Absolutely, he was brilliant when he came in. He's different type of player than we have in midfield currently. It was great to see him in there as well. Rob Henry says having your Tielemans back is like walking again after spending a week in bed with the flu. You just feel healed. Yeah, I suppose so. Paul Clark says great to win. Great, nobody got hurt outside the ground as far as I know. Yeah, I haven't heard anything or seen anything on that either. It says beautiful that Tielemans is back. Andy Badger says that Bogart is some player, Neil. He's getting better and better. Yeah, I have to agree. Even going back into that right back position, he looked comfortable there as well. I was interested to see how he played back there. Do you know what? It's great to have young players there who are just willing to put their shoulder to the wheel as well. And I think that's fair enough to say about Lamar Bogart, getting more and more confident on the ball. And the commentator was effusive in his praise, talking about an awful lot of teams in Europe were interested in him. And then obviously the trope that always comes out about him is that his uncle is Winston Bogart. And I always chuckle at stuff like that. They're right to say it, commentators are right to say it, but I always chuckle at it. It's something that will follow him around for the rest of his days, regardless of what he does. Where else are we? I'm going to scroll down here as well. Jake Aston Villa says, what do you get for first or second finish in Europa League phase? Home ties first, home ties second. Home ties second, as far as I'm aware. It's home ties second. As I say, if you listen to the team sheet tantrum, there's a lot of me that doesn't really believe that matters, but obviously statistically, it's you can prove it statistically that it's better, it's more favorable, or teams that play the home leg second more often than not end up on the winning side in big games when games are tighter. So why not have any of those idiosyncrasies in our favor? Where else are we? Tim Gill says that pass from Tielemans was magic. Edmund says, and Maatsen's goal from a tight position, Neil, absolutely, it was a great goal. I don't know how he fitted in there. Don't know how at all he fitted in there. It was like, I still don't even know how you kick the ball in that way. Like, albeit unless I saw a camera angle directly at his back, so I could see what the angle was. Every TV angle just looked like it was a crazy good finish, So fair play to him. I think that was fantastic. Where are we? Scrolling down here. So J-Rig says, if Elliott ain't getting minutes in a game like this, I think we conclude Emery is trying to avoid the obligation to buy trigger. Fine. Like, I'm and sorry, this isn't to go at you, J-Rig, but every game we play, everybody always asks, why aren't we playing Harvey Elliott? And it's fine. If Emery doesn't want him, fine. He doesn't want him. That's kind of where I am at the moment with it. He's like, there always seems to be a player in the Villa squad whereby people are like, if only this fella was playing, would be much, much better. Harvey Elliott is a very, very good player. Very good player. Like, I wish Emery was implementing him and putting him in the squad, but he's not currently. And if there is this obligation to buy, that maybe it was the falling out point between Monchi and Unai Emery, if you want to go fully down the conspiratorial rabbit hole. Maybe that was the final straw, and that's why Monchi is gone. And if that is the reason, if Emery didn't want him, well, if Emery didn't want him, don't really want him playing minutes. Because for me, it's very much so. It's such a systemic team. It's such a team that is built around a system. And there's always players in the team whereby we can't understand why they get picked, me included as well. And we can't understand why people don't get picked as well. But the manager proves time after time that the players he picks are going to have us punching above our weight in certain games. They're going to have us punching below our weight in other games. Sometimes we rise to the moment, sometimes we don't. At the Go Ahead Eagles game, against games like games against Ipswich last year. But at the end of the day, the proof in the pudding is that the manager is getting this team into Europe 3 years in a row. And if there is a conflict point, if there was a conflict point between him and the hierarchy with regards to the signing of Harvey Elliott, and he doesn't see him fit to play him, and Monchi is gone, well, I think that's fine. And if January comes and he goes back to Liverpool and we don't sign him and we move on and we sign somebody else, that's Unai Emery's decision. And for me, he has every right to make that decision as the manager, and what I would imagine now is going to be somebody with even more control over the transfer market for Aston Villa, and he will make mistakes and he will make good decisions, but I like everybody want to see him play. But the thing that the question that people keep on asking is with regards to the obligation, and I think everybody is answering their own question until I see any more, or until Unai Emery changes what he's doing, or until Unai Emery starts to play him more. I think January comes and he goes back, and that's fine, and we get a replacement that will affect the team and that will play within the team. And it's sad. It's sad because, Harvey Elliott bossed it for England in the under-21s, but it's such a system-driven team that if somebody comes in that Unai Emery in training sees can't fit into the system, and he's basically said that he needs to fit into our system, and it doesn't work out, and he very well will go on to another team and play brilliantly. But them's the breaks. Them's the breaks when you play in a system heavy team. And sorry, Jerry, I wasn't having a go at you there. It's just the Harvey Elliott team consistently comes up, consistently get DMs on it, consistently get messages on it, and that's kind of my opinion. Is I feel sorry for him because he's a really talented footballer, but at the end of the day, I'm an Aston Villa fan, and Unai Emery will be here. Like, if he goes back in January and we get somebody else that potentially fits into the system a small bit more, he would be a footnote in Aston Villa, and that's not meant in a derogatory way to him whatsoever. It's not meant in a bad way whatsoever. It's the players come and go, and some work, some don't. Some go on and have brilliant careers at other clubs, and I'm sure he will do that because he's a good footballer. But yeah, he didn't get minutes tonight. Would have been nice to see him get minutes tonight. But I don't really mind. Like, if he's using him sparingly because of this 10-game obligation to buy, which, be honest with you, like, as I say, if it is a thing, then that's the decision he's made. He's chosen to make, and we will see whether he goes back in January. Because, like, if he doesn't go back in January, he's not going to be consistently on the bench for the rest of the year. not getting games. So either Unai Emery is telling the truth, or there's this thing about holding him back because of the 10-game conspiracy. But really, we will not know anymore until either A, he reaches the 10-game threshold, or B, we get to the final day in January and he has not gone back from his loan. That's really the long and the short of it, I think, with Harvey Elliott. And once again, I want to stress the fact that he's a good player, and it sucks for him. It really does. And we'd all like to see how he can perform in this team, but the only way we can do that is if Unai Emery feels safe in playing him. And that's really the long and the short of it. Very much so the long of it, because I spoke for quite a while on that as well. Sai asks me, did I watch the Shamrock Rovers game? I didn't watch the Shamrock Rovers game. Chip says, yeah, but Neil, there's no way Gassan is better than Elliott. Email Unai Emery at astonvilla.com on that one. It's not me having an argument with you, Chip. It's me telling you that the manager isn't playing him. And I'm not talking about talent levels. I've just spoken about it there. He's an extremely talented player, but it's a system-driven team that Unai Emery has, and Unai Emery is not picking him for one reason or another. It's the whole, are we not playing him because we don't want him to reach the 10 games piece that I'm speaking on. We will know that if he reaches 10 games before January, or we will know that if he's sent back from his loan in January, if that is the case. That's really my only comment on it. I'm not talking about skill levels. I'm talking about system fits. And again, that's I don't see any other reason why Unai Emery is not picking him currently, other than one of those two reasons. You know, it's not a talent thing. It certainly isn't. I'm gonna scroll back up there because I lost where I was in my comments. Comments. Yeah, a lot of Harvey Elliott stuff there, lads. I'm gonna scroll past those if you don't mind. Rachel in St. Louis says, for Sancho, there would have to be a clause, or would we have to pay to cut it? We don't do that. Not sure about Elliott due to, there's an Elliott piece in the end of that. I'm not talking about Elliott, guys, as I said, because I don't know. I can't offer any more than I've already said there. Gav D says, question, Neil, are you worried about the amount of good chances we're giving away each game? Even lesser opposition worries me. Yeah, absolutely. I will say we're a lot tighter defensively this year than I think people want to give us credit for in a lot of games. But tonight, obviously, we gave away a couple of clear-cut chances to them early on. We gave clear-cut chances away to go-ahead Eagles, very much so. We gave, I thought, realistically, I thought that we were outside of two bad passes out from defense against Liverpool. I thought we were pretty good defensively, and I know that sounds silly about saying about only for two bad passes. But that's, I thought that we were resolute. I thought we were solid defensively, but definitely in the two European games, the one against Go Ahead Eagles and the one against one tonight. There are nights like tonight could have easily been a situation where we're 1-0 down, maybe 2-0 down tonight, and then we could be looking at trying to change gears. Then it's risky. It absolutely is. I have to believe that just because so soon after we scored the second goal, he changed for the Victor Lindelof, from the right side of defence into the central midfield, brought Bogart out there. I thought Lindelof is a good defender. He's a good defender, but he ain't fast. And I thought that they picked on him a small bit tonight. I thought they picked on the mismatch between himself and Gassand. The fact that neither of the two of them were truly comfortable out there, or in their spacing in the overlap situations that they in the first half. And look, they've rarely played together. But absolutely, I agree with you, Gav. There, the chances that we concede against teams that I suppose you could put down and say we're lucky not to concede against them. It is a worry, for sure. It is a worry. It is a worry because we're not creating those chances for ourselves. It is a worry because we're not creating those chances for ourselves as well. And that's the thing that gets me, is, somehow we find a way to break through, or there's somebody sitting out there in the January transfer window, or we find a tweak to bring somebody into the team that, and maybe we bring in Harvey Elliott into the team after all my chat about him, and next thing he opens up all the doors, and we start creating a lot more chances through balls. But there was times there in the first half whereby we were playing long straight balls from like 45 yards out from their goals, trying to go over the top of that defense, and it looked off, is what I would say. Is it looked off, and Lindelof played one or two of those, Onana played one or two of those. It looked like we were just trying to ping a diagonal or a straight ball into one of the wingers to try and get them to head it back across goal and cause consternation. So if we're not creating the chances at the other end, it is always going to be a worry if we're giving away the chances at our defensive end as well. I think so. Right, I'm coming up on half an hour, guys. Here, I think I think it's fair to say, look, 3 points in the Europa League is the main aim tonight, and we got that. It wasn't a sparkling first half performance, but it was, once we got the goal, we steadied down. I will go back to what I said at the very start. Very, very similar game to how it was again, how Liverpool beat us, with the golfing talent that they had, attacking talent that they had. They get their goal, they settle down, and they get another goal early in the second half, and then it's plain sailing for them. I think that's exactly how we got into this game as well, and how we ended up seeing out this game too. And I suppose it really draws a line underneath a game that has had more eyes on it. It's had more column inches written about it. It's had more discussion on any of the news channels, on any of the any talk shows, on any radio shows, than it ever will deserve in a million years, considering the spectacle we saw out in the field there. The game is over. The game is done. Aston Villa get the 3 points. That's the main thing. That is the talking point. That is the main thing. But the big talking point is we scored a penalty, and that's what everybody should be writing about tomorrow, because Aston Villa have now scored 33% of all the penalties that they've taken this year, and it was a brilliant penalty. And well done to that man. He absolutely stuck it in the bottom corner. So, all right, guys, I will be back very soon. I think I have a Villa AM lined up for tomorrow morning. Yes, I know I have, because I recorded it today. And it will be out tomorrow morning. Villa AM on the other Brazilian that we scouted yesterday in Alisson from Grêmio. I have a piece out on him tomorrow as well. Tomorrow night we will be doing that Opera research. If you guys didn't check out my Opera research last week, pop in, see if it's for you. Essentially what we do is we play other teams' fan podcasts, and we discuss what they're discussing to see what their actual views are, because I found sometimes, like in the early days of this podcast, I used to get opposition fans on, and you get a very sanitized view about what they think about Aston Villa, and then you go and you watch their podcast that they do themselves afterwards, and you're like, hold on a minute, I thought this fella was sound. And sometimes they might be slating Villa or whatever, and that's fine. Look, that's all part of the game. It's all part of the banter and stuff. So what I've decided to do is pick 2 podcasts, listen to what their thoughts are on Aston Villa, have them up on the screen here, and do commentary on what their thoughts are, whether they're right, whether they're wrong, what the feeling is about their manager, what the feeling is about how they're playing at the moment. So it's called Opera Research. If you guys want to check it out, please do. I found it very interesting for Liverpool last week, so we're going to do it again this week. So that's going to come tomorrow night as well. So you'll have the Alisson Villa AM in the morning. You'll have that tomorrow night. Saturday mornings, early Saturday mornings, Villa AM will have an 8-minute roundup and preview of any of the women's stuff that's on over the weekend. And then on Sunday, we're back into Team Sheet Tantrums, and we're back into, I forgot even about previews. So there will be no preview for Bournemouth. I will use the opposition research as that preview as well. Then we'll be into Team Sheet Tantrums on Sunday, and into post-match podcast on Sunday again. And we start all over once more then on Monday with the Academy chats, and then on to the brand new week then, as we look forward to Aston Villa football, the roller coaster, and the brilliant roller coaster I'm absolutely delighted to be on, that is Aston Villa football under Unai Emery. And long may the European nights and the full calendar of Aston Villa football continue. So that's going to do it. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. Thanks so much for your questions as well, and thanks so much for I know we don't always agree on stuff like that, but that's all cool. You know, I appreciate everybody who comes here and gives their time week in, week out, podcast in, podcast out. And you know, at the end of the day, we've a great little community here, as I referenced previously. You know, the fact that so many of you guys have given your condolences to Paddy over the passing of his father and so on. I know it means an awful lot to Paddy, but it means an awful lot to me as well, because that means that you guys are actually connecting with Paddy and a feeling for him as well on a human level. And that's exactly what it is. We're all Villa fans. We all want everybody to be in a good place. So, yeah, thanks so much for that. And we'll see you again. See you tomorrow morning for a pre-recorded podcast, and see you tomorrow night for the Opera research. Villa win 2-0. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the